The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a capital ship engineered for overwhelming firepower, designed to dominate battlefields with a combination of heavy turbo-laser batteries, ion cannons, and layered defensive systems. Both the Imperial I-class and its successor, the Imperial II-class, reflect a doctrine of strategic superiority through sheer offensive and defensive capability. While both variants maintain the same fundamental design philosophy, advancements in the Imperial II-class enhance its effectiveness in sustained combat engagements. At the heart of their firepower are the turbo-laser batteries, which serve as the primary weapon system for ship-to-ship combat. The Imperial I-class is armed with 60 heavy turbo-lasers, positioned along the dorsal and lateral sections of the hull. These weapons are designed for long-range barrages, capable of tearing through enemy shields and armor with sustained fire. The Imperial II-class improves upon this design by replacing the quad-barreled turbo-laser turrets of the earlier model with larger, more efficient twin-heavy turbo-lasers, optimizing firepower output and energy efficiency. These turrets boast enhanced tracking and cooling systems, reducing thermal buildup and allowing for prolonged engagements without overheating. Complementing the turbo-lasers are ion cannons, which serve a specialized role in disabling enemy vessels rather than outright destruction. The Imperial I-class is equipped with 60 heavy ion cannons, strategically placed to ensure a broadside firing arc. These weapons release concentrated ionized energy pulses, disrupting shields, weapon systems, and electronic controls, making them ideal for neutralizing enemy warships prior to boarding operations or capture. The Imperial II-class, however, reduces the number of dedicated ion cannons, shifting focus toward improved turbo-laser efficiency, while still maintaining effective electronic warfare capabilities. For close-range defense, both classes rely on a network of point defense laser cannons, anti-starfighter turrets, and missile launchers. The Imperial I-class features multiple dual laser cannon turrets, strategically positioned to cover key approach vectors against fast-moving starfighters, bombers, and torpedoes. However, these defenses were considered insufficient against Rebel starfighter tactics, prompting a major upgrade in the Imperial II-class. The newer variant incorporates enhanced anti-starfighter weaponry, including more advanced point defense turrets and improved fire control targeting systems, drastically improving its ability to repel small-scale attacks. The efficiency of these weapon systems is directly tied to power distribution and energy management. Both classes rely on a primary reactor housed deep within the ship's superstructure, responsible for generating and allocating power to the main batteries, shields, propulsion, and subsystems. In combat, the Star Destroyer's power conduits prioritize energy flow to primary weapons, ensuring that turbo-lasers and ion cannons receive maximum output when engaging enemy warships. However, sustained heavy fire can create temporary power strain, requiring tactical energy redistribution between weapons and shields depending on battlefield conditions. To sustain prolonged engagements, both classes incorporate advanced cooling and heat dissipation systems. The immense energy discharge of the turbo-lasers generates extreme heat, which is managed through thermal regulation systems, high-capacity heat sinks, and active coolant circulation. The Imperial II-class improves upon this by integrating a more efficient cooling matrix, allowing for continuous fire without performance degradation. Targeting precision is achieved through an integrated fire control network, linking sensor arrays, targeting computers, and gunnery stations. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer utilizes AI-assisted targeting systems, capable of predicting enemy movements and compensating for countermeasures such as jamming or sensor interference. Long-range turbo-laser batteries synchronize with advanced sensor suites, allowing the Star Destroyer to engage enemy ships well before they enter return fire range. In the Imperial II-class, targeting accuracy is further improved with upgraded sensor integration and better computational tracking algorithms, ensuring greater hit probability at extreme distances. Despite its overwhelming firepower, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer does have structural limitations in its weapons layout. The angular superstructure, while providing extensive forward and broadside coverage, results in rear blind spots that leave the ship vulnerable to attacks from fast-moving corvettes or starfighters. Additionally, the high energy demand of the turbo laser batteries can create temporary power fluctuations, particularly when engaging multiple targets at once. These limitations are partially mitigated by escorting vessels or fighter screens, but they remain a potential weakness in isolated engagements. Both the Imperial I-class and Imperial II-class Star Destroyers allow for modular weapon upgrades, ensuring adaptability against evolving threats. Turbo laser batteries can be retrofitted with higher output models, targeting systems can be recalibrated for increased accuracy, and additional defensive turrets can be installed to counteract fighter-based threats. The Imperial II class in particular was developed with easier weapon modification protocols, allowing for faster battlefield adjustments and system overhauls. In conclusion, the Imperial class Star Destroyer's weapon systems are designed for absolute combat superiority. The Imperial I-class establishes a baseline of formidable firepower, while the Imperial II class refines and enhances weapon efficiency, durability, and accuracy. With its devastating turbo lasers, disabling ion cannons, reinforced defensive arrays, and precision targeting, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer remains one of the most feared warships in galactic history, a true embodiment of Imperial military doctrine. However, its effectiveness depends not only on raw firepower but also on strategic deployment, energy management, and coordinated fleet support. Ensuring that it remains a dominant force in any engagement, Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a capital ship engineered for overwhelming. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is engineered as a heavily armed capital ship, designed to project power across vast distances, while maintaining sufficient sublight speed and maneuverability for fleet operations. Unlike smaller, more agile warships, the Star Destroyer prioritizes strategic positioning, pursuit capability, and long-duration endurance over extreme acceleration or evasive movement. Its propulsion system is designed to enable efficient battlefield deployment, allowing it to close distance with enemy capital ships, establish planetary blockades, and conduct large-scale fleet maneuvers. The Imperial I-class and its successor, the Imperial II-class, both utilize a triple ion engine configuration, delivering the necessary thrust for their massive tonnage while maintaining a balance between power efficiency and operational range. At the core of the Star Destroyer's propulsion system are its three primary KDY Destroyer I-ion engines, located at the aft of the vessel's superstructure. These engines generate thrust by ionizing high-energy particles and expelling them through advanced magnetized thrust nozzles, creating a highly efficient and sustained propulsion system. The Imperial II class upgrades these with the more advanced KDY Destroyer 2 ion engines, offering greater thrust output and improved energy efficiency. These engines are capable of delivering standard sublight cruising speeds comparable to other large warships, though they lack the acceleration required to effectively engage in high-speed evasive maneuvers. Energy distribution is a critical factor in the Imperial-class propulsion system. The primary reactor, a hypermatter annihilation core, generates an immense energy output that must be allocated between the engines, shields, and weapon systems. During fleet engagements, energy is often diverted from propulsion to reinforce shields or maintain heavy turbo laser barrages, limiting acceleration and maneuvering capability. Conversely, when pursuing enemy ships or repositioning for an engagement, engine power is prioritized, allowing the vessel to maximize thrust at the cost of reduced offensive and defensive capacity. This dynamic energy allocation system enables the Star Destroyer to adapt its combat posture depending on mission objectives. Due to the sheer output of its ion engines, heat management and cooling are essential to maintaining propulsion efficiency. Each engine is equipped with dedicated thermal regulators, high-capacity radiators, and coolant circulation systems, which actively dissipate excess heat during sustained thrust operations. The Imperial II class features an improved heat dissipation matrix, allowing for longer operational periods at maximum thrust without risking engine overheating. Additional venting systems integrated into the hull ensure that waste heat is expelled efficiently, reducing thermal buildup in the superstructure. However, during prolonged engagements or high-speed pursuits, cooling systems can become overloaded, requiring temporary reductions in thrust to prevent structural damage. While the main ion engines provide primary thrust, maneuverability is controlled through auxiliary thrusters and vectoring systems. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is outfitted with 4 secondary ion thrusters, positioned around the main engines to enable course corrections, braking maneuvers, and limited lateral movement. Additionally, a network of reaction control thrusters, RCS, and repulsor lifts is distributed across the hull, allowing for fine-tuned adjustments in pitch, yaw, and roll. These systems work in conjunction with inertial dampeners, which counteract the immense G-forces generated by such a massive vessel, ensuring that onboard crew and systems remain unaffected during sudden velocity changes. However, despite these maneuvering aids, the sheer mass and length of the Star Destroyer mean that it remains relatively slow to turn compared to smaller warships. The positioning of the engines plays a crucial role in the ship's structural integrity and combat effectiveness. The triple-engine layout ensures a stable thrust profile, preventing destabilization during acceleration. However, this configuration also presents a notable vulnerability, as the rear section of the ship is heavily reliant on these 3 main engines. Damage to any of these engines can result in asymmetrical thrust, reducing speed and maneuverability, while a total loss of engine function can leave the ship dead in space, requiring emergency power redirection or external assistance. To mitigate this, engine housings are reinforced with armored plating, though they remain an exposed and high-priority target for enemy starfighter assaults. Fuel consumption is another key factor in the Imperial-class Star Destroyer's operational capabilities. Both the Imperial I-class and Imperial II-class utilize hypermatter fuel, an extremely energy-dense resource that powers both the sublight propulsion systems and reactor core. The ship's massive fuel reserves enable it to sustain long-duration deployments without frequent refueling, making it ideal for extended patrols, sieges, and fleet operations. However, high-speed pursuits or prolonged full-throttle maneuvers can deplete fuel reserves at an accelerated rate, necessitating resupply from Imperial logistics vessels or nearby shipyards. Maintenance of the Imperial-class propulsion system requires regular servicing and component replacement due to the immense strain placed on the engines. Standard maintenance cycles include realignment of ionization chambers, recalibration of thrust vectoring nozzles, and inspection of coolant systems to prevent engine degradation. The Imperial II class features a more durable engine design, reducing maintenance frequency while enhancing overall reliability. However, in combat scenarios, engine damage can lead to severe mobility reductions, necessitating emergency field repairs or reliance on tractor beams and auxiliary power sources to maintain minimal movement. The modular nature of the Star Destroyer's propulsion system allows for upgrades and battlefield modifications. Engine components can be swapped for higher output models, power regulators can be optimized for increased efficiency, and stealth-adapted engine baffles can be installed to reduce sensor visibility during covert operations. While the Imperial I-class was built with standard propulsion technology, the Imperial II class was specifically designed to accommodate future engine upgrades, ensuring continued relevance in evolving combat environments. Ultimately, the sublight propulsion system of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a high-power, endurance-focused design, engineered for strategic positioning, planetary dominance, and fleet coordination rather than raw speed or agility. Its 3 primary ion engines deliver immense thrust, while secondary thrusters and maneuvering systems provide adequate control for battlefield adjustments. The ship's energy allocation system, cooling infrastructure, and modular upgrade potential ensure that it remains a formidable force in deep space engagements. However, its limited acceleration, rear vulnerability, and fuel consumption rate define its strategic constraints, requiring tactical deployment and fleet support to maximize its effectiveness in large-scale operations. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is designed for long-range strategic deployment, requiring a robust, high-performance hyperdrive system to traverse the vast distances of the galaxy efficiently. As a multi-role capital ship, its hyperdrive must balance speed, reliability, and fuel efficiency to support operations ranging from rapid fleet redeployment to sustained planetary blockades. The Imperial I-Class and Imperial II-Class both feature a Class II hyperdrive, making them twice as slow as the fastest hyperspace-capable vessels, but still competitive for a capital ship of their size. The backup hyperdrive system is rated at Class 8, providing a fail-safe mechanism in case of primary hyperdrive failure but at significantly reduced speed. At the core of the Star Destroyer's faster-than-light propulsion system is its primary hyperdrive motivator, a Kyber-powered hypermatter annihilation drive that generates the immense energy required to propel the vessel into hyperspace. The hyperdrive motivator is connected to a dedicated hypermatter reactor, which ensures stable power output while maintaining minimal fluctuations in hyperspace field generation. Advanced gravitic modulators and mass shadow sensors are integrated into the system to ensure safe entry and exit from hyperspace, preventing catastrophic collisions with stellar bodies or interdiction fields. Fuel consumption and storage are critical factors in the hyperdrive's operational range. Both Imperial-class variants utilize hypermatter as their primary fuel source, stored in high-capacity containment cells within the ship's engineering section. Hypermatter is an extremely energy-dense exotic particle, allowing for long-distance travel with minimal fuel depletion. However, the efficiency of the hyperdrive system is directly proportional to energy allocation, meaning that prolonged high-speed hyperspace jumps require substantial fuel reserves. Tibanna gas is also used in hyperdrive plasma containment fields, stabilizing the reactor core and preventing energy feedback loops that could lead to destabilization. Navigation and astrogation systems are essential for precise hyperspace travel. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is equipped with an advanced Cinar Fleet Systems hyperwave transceiver, enabling real-time galactic positioning and hyperspace telemetry updates. The ship's dedicated Navy computer integrates pre-calculated hyperspace lanes, allowing for efficient jump plotting while minimizing travel time. Unlike smaller vessels that rely on astromech droids for calculations, the Imperial-class features a redundant multi-core astrogation processor, capable of autonomously recalculating hyperspace routes in response to changing stellar conditions or gravitational anomalies. Power distribution within the Imperial-class hyperdrive system is highly regulated, ensuring that energy allocation remains stable and efficient. The primary reactor core is designed to divert power between hyperspace propulsion, sublight engines, shields, and weapon systems depending on mission priorities. During hyperspace travel, non-essential systems are placed in low-power standby mode, conserving energy for optimal hyperdrive operation. A dedicated power regulator matrix ensures that energy surges or fluctuations do not destabilize the hyperspace field, preventing miscalculations or forced reversion to real space. Heat management is a critical aspect of sustained hyperdrive use. The immense energy required for hyperspace travel generates significant thermal output, necessitating an array of cooling systems, radiators, and plasma venting mechanisms. The Imperial I-Class employs high-efficiency thermal regulators, while the Imperial II-Class improves upon this with advanced coolant circulation and reinforced heat sinks, reducing the risk of thermal overload during consecutive jumps. If overheating occurs, the system automatically initiates a cooling cycle, temporarily reducing hyperdrive output to prevent structural damage. The structural reinforcements and safety measures built into the Imperial-class Star Destroyer allow it to withstand the immense forces of hyperspace travel. The ship is equipped with multiple inertial dampeners, ensuring that acceleration into hyperspace does not generate excessive internal stress on the hull or crew. Additionally, gravity well countermeasures are integrated to prevent the ship from being forcibly pulled out of hyperspace by interdiction fields. Emergency shutdown protocols are automatically engaged if gravitational distortions exceed safety parameters, forcing the vessel to revert to real space at the safest possible location. Backup and redundant systems provide critical fail-safe mechanisms in case of primary hyperdrive failure. The Imperial class is equipped with a Class 8 backup hyperdrive, which, while significantly slower, allows the vessel to reach a safe destination for repairs rather than being stranded in deep space. Additionally, the ship features hyperdrive surge protectors and redundant power conduits, ensuring that minor system failures do not result in a complete loss of FTL capability. In emergency situations, the ship's tractor beam arrays can be used to align with friendly vessels for towed hyperspace jumps, Modularity and upgrade potential allow for hyperdrive system enhancements based on mission parameters and technological advancements. The Imperial II class was designed with improved hyperdrive shielding and upgraded motivators, making it more resistant to interdiction attempts and gravitational anomalies. While standard Imperial doctrine does not prioritize speed enhancements, specialized modifications can be implemented for stealth operations or rapid fleet deployment scenarios. Certain variants feature hyperwave signal dampeners, reducing detectability during hyperspace transit for covert military operations. Ultimately, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer's hyperdrive system is engineered for long-range operational endurance, strategic fleet mobility, and reliable hyperspace navigation. Its Class II hyperdrive ensures competitive travel speeds for a vessel of its size, while redundant safety features, advanced navigation systems, and modular upgrade potential ensure its continued effectiveness in interstellar warfare. However, its fuel consumption, cooling requirements, and vulnerability to interdiction fields define its strategic limitations, necessitating fleet coordination and logistical support for sustained hyperspace operations. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a high-energy demand capital warship, requiring a massive high-output reactor system to power its primary weapon arrays, sublight engines, deflector shields, life support systems, and hyperdrive motivators. Designed for extended operations without refueling, its power generation system prioritizes raw energy output, efficiency, and redundancy to ensure uninterrupted functionality under combat conditions. At the core of the Star Destroyer's power infrastructure is a hypermatter annihilation reactor, a cutting-edge energy source capable of generating incomprehensible levels of power through the controlled reaction of hypermatter particles. This reactor operates on the principle of total mass energy conversion, annihilating hypermatter at the subatomic level and converting it into a near-limitless energy supply. Unlike conventional fusion reactors, which rely on thermonuclear reactions, a hypermatter annihilation core provides instantaneous energy release, allowing for constant high-power output without the need for complex ignition cycles. The fuel source for the reactor is highly refined hypermatter, a rare and exotic form of energy-dense material that exists in a semi-stable quantum state. Hypermatter is stored in reinforced containment chambers and fed into the reactor through precision-controlled conduits. The fuel efficiency of the system is exceptionally high, as hypermatter's complete annihilation yields near-total energy conversion, minimizing waste and residual byproducts. Additional fuel supplements include Tabana gas, which is used in coolant stabilization and plasma containment fields, ensuring reactor stability under extreme loads. Power generated by the reactor is distributed through a dedicated power conduit network, supplying energy to primary and secondary subsystems based on operational priorities. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer's power allocation matrix is programmed to ensure that weapons, shields, propulsion, and life support receive the necessary energy under normal conditions, while an emergency load balancing system can automatically redistribute power to critical subsystems in the event of combat damage or system overloads. High-capacity superconducting power conduits are used to transmit energy with minimal resistance, ensuring that power loss is kept to an absolute minimum, even under peak demand. Cooling and heat dissipation are critical factors in maintaining continuous reactor operation. The Imperial I-class utilizes a multi-tiered cooling system consisting of liquid coolant circulation, plasma venting, and radiative heat exchangers. This system is designed to handle massive thermal output, ensuring that the reactor does not overheat even under sustained high-energy conditions. The Imperial II class, however, improves upon this system with reinforced thermal regulators and enhanced heat sinks, increasing reactor endurance during prolonged engagements. Additionally, emergency heat venting systems can purge excess plasma into space to prevent reactor destabilization. Given the critical nature of the reactor core, its structural integrity is heavily reinforced against internal and external threats. The entire reactor assembly is housed within an armored containment module featuring layered durasteel plating, radiation shielding, and redundant structural bracing to prevent catastrophic failures in case of damage or containment breaches. Additionally, localized ray shielding protects critical reactor components from ion-based weaponry, reducing the risk of power surges or system-wide shutdowns due to enemy attacks. In the event of a catastrophic failure, an emergency reactor shutdown system initiates an automated coolant flood, preventing core detonation and allowing for reactivation once safety conditions are restored. Backup and redundant systems provide fail-safes in case of primary reactor failure. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is equipped with secondary fusion reactors, which serve as emergency power reserves for life support, sublight propulsion, and critical defense systems. These auxiliary reactors ensure that the vessel can remain operational, even if the primary hypermatter reactor is offline. Additionally, high-density capacitor banks store emergency power reserves, allowing the ship to maintain limited functionality during power redistribution. Maintenance and operational lifespan are major factors in reactor efficiency and reliability. The hypermatter annihilation reactor requires regular fuel replenishment, though its fuel efficiency allows for months of operation before refueling is necessary. Routine plasma conduit inspections, coolant replacements, and radiation shielding recalibrations are necessary to maintain peak reactor performance. Despite its robust construction, the reactor's primary failure points include coolant leaks, energy grid fluctuations, and hypermatter feed irregularities, all of which require dedicated engineering crews to monitor and repair. Modularity and upgrade potential allow for reactor enhancements based on mission requirements. The Imperial II-class Star Destroyer, for example, features an improved reactor shielding array and enhanced power regulators, allowing for greater energy stability under combat conditions. Specialized reactor modifications can also include stealth-oriented power dampening, reducing the vessel's energy signature for covert operations. Additionally, some custom refits include overclocked reactors, trading long-term stability for increased short-term power output, useful for intensive siege operations or fleet engagements. Despite its immense capabilities, the reactor system does have inherent limitations. The sheer power output makes it a high-profile target, as catastrophic reactor breaches can lead to the complete destruction of the vessel. Additionally, while its power redundancy systems provide protection against sudden failures, the reactor is still vulnerable to sustained ion weapon attacks, which can cause power fluctuations, disrupt cooling systems, and temporarily disable reactor output. Ultimately, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer's reactor system represents the pinnacle of energy production for a capital warship, ensuring continuous operational capability, high power efficiency, and strategic endurance. However, its massive power requirements, cooling demands, and vulnerability to specialized attacks highlight the critical importance of maintenance, shielding, and redundant systems in ensuring uninterrupted combat effectiveness. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a large, wedge-shaped capital warship designed to function as a multi-role battle platform, serving in fleet engagements, planetary sieges, and system control operations. Its design philosophy emphasizes overwhelming firepower, heavy armor protection, and long-term operational endurance, allowing it to function as a self-sufficient command vessel or as part of large-scale fleet maneuvers. The ship's structure reflects the Empire's doctrine of superior firepower and intimidation, with a heavily reinforced hull, high-capacity reactor, and modular internal systems to support a wide range of combat and logistical roles. Constructed primarily from durasteel, quadranium alloys, and reinforced composites, the Star Destroyer's hull is engineered for maximum resilience under sustained fire. Durasteel plating forms the primary outer shell, offering a high degree of impact resistance against kinetic and energy-based attacks. Quadranium-reinforced support structures provide internal rigidity, ensuring the vessel can withstand the immense stresses of atmospheric entry, hyperspace travel, and high-intensity combat maneuvers. Additionally, heat-resistant composites help manage thermal dispersion from both external energy weapons and the ship's own reactor output. The Imperial II class further enhances durability with thicker hull plating and improved structural bracing, increasing resistance to heavy turbolaser bombardment. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer measures approximately 1,600 meters in length, with a beam width of around 900 meters and a height of roughly 400 meters, making it one of the largest warships in standard fleet service. This scale allows for an extensive internal infrastructure, supporting a large crew complement, extensive cargo storage, and multiple hangar facilities. The wedge-shaped hull is optimized for direct forward assault, minimizing surface area exposure to enemy fire while concentrating the ship's main weapon batteries toward the forward arc. Internally, the ship follows a compartmentalized layout, with dedicated sections for command operations, crew accommodations, engineering, and starfighter deployment. The command deck and bridge are located on the elevated superstructure, providing clear battlefield oversight while remaining separated from primary weapon emplacements to reduce the risk of direct hits. Crew quarters and barracks are positioned along mid-level decks, allowing for efficient personnel movement between operational areas. The reactor chamber and engine rooms are housed deep within the lower hull, heavily shielded by armor plating and redundant safety bulkheads. Cargo bays and storage facilities are strategically distributed to optimize weight balance and access to essential supplies. The bridge design follows a tactical command structure with centralized control stations for navigation, weapons coordination, and fleet communication. Unlike many warships that utilize internalized bridge configurations, the Star Destroyer features an exposed command tower, providing unobstructed visual monitoring of fleet formations and planetary surfaces. This design, while offering superior command visibility, presents a potential structural vulnerability, as damage to the tower can compromise primary command functions. However, the Imperial II class partially mitigates this by incorporating redundant command relays and armored sensor shielding, improving combat survivability. Armor and defensive design considerations prioritize direct frontal engagement and long-term endurance. Reinforced hull plating and shield generators provide strong resistance against sustained attacks, while angled hull geometry reduces effective impact surfaces for incoming fire. However, the ventral hull remains a relative weak point, as shield projectors and hangar bays create structural gaps that can be exploited by enemy starfighters or precision strikes. The Imperial II class addresses this by reducing exposed hangar access points and reinforcing lower hull plating, though complete elimination of vulnerability is not possible without compromising operational flexibility. Externally, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer features a sleek, angular profile, designed for optimal firepower projection and structural efficiency. The sensor arrays and long-range communication systems are housed within the command tower, while the turbo laser and ion cannon emplacements are integrated along the upper and lateral hull surfaces. The forward prow section remains unbroken, allowing for uninterrupted power distribution to primary weapon banks. In the Imperial II class, additional shielding enhancements and improved sensor jamming arrays provide greater electronic warfare resistance and combat endurance. The ship's operational efficiency relies on a large crew complement of over 37,000 personnel, including officers, engineers, gunners, and stormtrooper detachments. Automated systems handle basic power management and diagnostics, but critical functions such as weapon targeting, shield modulation, and hyperspace calculations require manual oversight. The Imperial II class incorporates improved automation protocols, reducing crew workload in engineering and power regulation without significantly decreasing personnel requirements. The hangar bay and docking systems support a large-scale deployment of starfighters, shuttles, and ground assault vehicles. The main ventral hangar houses up to 72 TI series starfighters, alongside Lambda-class shuttles and various support craft. Dedicated maintenance bays and refueling stations ensure rapid deployment and turnaround for sustained fighter operations. The Imperial II class modifies hangar configurations, reducing exposed entry points while maintaining fighter capacity, increasing overall structural integrity. Docking ports along the lateral hull allow for ship-to-ship transfers, resupply operations, and boarding maneuvers. Modularity and customization allow for mission-specific adaptations. While the core structural layout remains consistent across both variants, modifications include command-oriented refits, siege loadouts, and experimental stealth configurations. Additional reactor shielding, enhanced sensor packages, or increased automation can be integrated based on strategic needs. However, modifications must account for power distribution and weight balance constraints, as overloading key subsystems can degrade operational efficiency. Despite its immense capabilities, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer does exhibit certain design weaknesses. The command tower's exposed nature, while offering tactical advantages, remains a primary vulnerability, as damage to sensor relays or shield generators can disrupt key ship functions. Additionally, the ventral hangar bay and lower hull sections present structural gaps that can be exploited by precision strikes or boarding maneuvers. Finally, the sheer size and mass of the vessel limits its maneuverability, making it susceptible to hit-and-run tactics from smaller, faster ships. In summary, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer's design is a masterpiece of engineering, balancing firepower, durability, and operational versatility. Its intimidating presence, heavily reinforced structure, and multi-role adaptability make it a cornerstone of fleet dominance, though its inherent vulnerabilities in maneuverability and structural exposure require tactical foresight and defensive coordination to maintain peak combat effectiveness. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer, a pinnacle of military engineering, is operated by a highly structured and specialized crew. With a total complement of over 37,000 personnel, the ship requires an extensive and meticulously organized team to ensure all systems function optimally during operations. This vast crew includes officers, enlisted personnel, droids, and specialized units, each playing a critical role in maintaining the ship's power and effectiveness across various missions. At the top of the chain of command is the Fleet Admiral, or the Senior Command Officer, who oversees all fleet operations and strategic objectives. Beneath the Admiral, the Captain assumes direct responsibility for the day-to-day operations of the Star Destroyer. This role is essential in managing the ship's combat readiness and ensuring the vessel is prepared for both routine operations and combat engagements. The Executive Officer, XO, second in command, handles the ship's internal coordination, including managing the crew, resolving issues, and ensuring that operations run smoothly during combat or prolonged missions. Department heads oversee specialized areas such as engineering, weapons, communications, and security. They are crucial in ensuring their respective sections are fully functional and ready for rapid deployment during high-intensity operations. The bridge of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer serves as the nerve center, where key officers oversee all aspects of the ship's operations. The captain's role is pivotal here, as they command the vessel during tactical operations, often making split-second decisions based on intelligence and real-time data. The tactical officer works alongside the captain, managing weapon systems, including turbo lasers, ion cannons, and tractor beams, ensuring the Star Destroyer can engage threats with pinpoint precision. Meanwhile, the navigator plots courses for hyperspace travel or real space maneuvers, ensuring that the vessel remains on course, even under the pressure of combat. A dedicated sensor operator is responsible for scanning for threats and anomalies, providing the crew with valuable intelligence regarding enemy movements and environmental conditions. Ensuring that the Star Destroyer operates at peak efficiency are the engineers, technicians, and support staff who are responsible for maintaining and repairing critical systems. These personnel handle the propulsion, power generation, life support, and weapons systems, each of which is integral to the ship's combat effectiveness and ability to sustain extended operations. The weapons technicians, for instance, ensure that the vast array of turbo lasers, ion cannons, and secondary systems remain fully operational, providing the ship with overwhelming firepower when needed. Life support specialists ensure that the crew can survive for extended periods in space, maintaining the environmental systems that provide breathable air, control temperature, and manage waste. Communication officers are vital as well, operating the secure channels that link the Star Destroyer to other fleet vessels and command centers, enabling tactical coordination. Specialized crew positions further enhance the ship's operational capabilities. Gunnery officers are responsible for ensuring the turbo lasers and ion cannons are properly aimed and deployed during combat. Sensor operators, on the other hand, manage the sophisticated sensor arrays that allow the ship to detect enemy vessels, obstacles, or other anomalies at long range, providing valuable information that shapes battle strategies. Security officers are tasked with maintaining internal order and protecting critical areas of the ship, including the bridge and reactor chambers. Their role is pivotal, especially in the event of a boarding action or internal breach. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer also integrates a variety of automated systems and droids to assist in various tasks, reducing the crew's overall workload. Astromech droids are frequently deployed throughout the ship, performing maintenance and repairs on systems, assisting with navigation, and providing support during combat scenarios. Protocol droids are often assigned to assist senior officers and provide communication services, ensuring that diplomatic or logistical issues are addressed efficiently. Combat droids are also utilized in planetary assaults or internal ship security operations, providing additional firepower and combat assistance when required. Crew members undergo rigorous training in various fields, ensuring they are prepared for their specific roles. All personnel must complete basic military training, including combat drills and emergency procedures. Engineers and technicians must have extensive knowledge of the Star Destroyer's advanced systems, while gunnery officers, tactical personnel, and navigators are trained in the use of specialized equipment, such as the ship's weapons systems or hyperspace travel procedures. The advanced skills required for operating such a massive warship ensure that only the most qualified individuals are selected to serve aboard. Living quarters aboard the Star Destroyer are functional and optimized for long-term space missions. Enlisted personnel typically reside in shared accommodations or barracks, while officers are given more spacious quarters. The crew has access to basic recreational areas, such as mess halls and lounges, where they can unwind during off-duty hours. Fitness areas help maintain physical readiness, while the medical facilities aboard the ship can handle everything from routine checkups to serious combat injuries, ensuring the health and safety of the crew during extended missions. The Star Destroyer operates on a strict shift system to ensure that the crew remains effective and alert during prolonged engagements. Crew members work in 12-hour shifts, ensuring that the ship is always ready for action, even during the dead of night or while deep in hyperspace. Emergency readiness is a top priority, with constant drills conducted to prepare the crew for damage control, combat scenarios, or evacuation procedures. This shift system helps keep the crew well rested while ensuring operational continuity at all times. The maintenance and logistical needs of the Star Destroyer are met by a dedicated team of technicians and support personnel who ensure that the ship's systems are continually maintained and resupplied. This includes the regular replenishment of fuel, ammunition, and spare parts, all of which are vital for keeping the ship operational. Technicians handle repairs during deployment, while specialized teams handle resupply operations when the ship docks with friendly vessels or stations. Maintaining communication within the crew is essential for the smooth functioning of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer. Internal communication systems ensure that orders are transmitted rapidly and efficiently from the captain to the lowest-ranking crew members. The chain of command ensures clarity and discipline during operations, with protocols in place for conflict resolution and maintaining morale during the stresses of long missions. The leadership ensures that the crew remains motivated and cohesive, even during the toughest challenges. The crew structure of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer is adaptable to various mission profiles. Whether deployed for deep space exploration, planetary sieges, or diplomatic missions, the crew can be restructured to meet the specific needs of the mission. Additional support staff, such as diplomats, scientists, or specialized combat units, can be added or removed based on the operational requirements, ensuring the Star Destroyer is always equipped to handle any challenge it may face. The flight space complement aboard both the Imperial-class Star Destroyer and its Imperial Lactude-class variant is an essential component of the vessel's combat strategy, designed to support a wide range of operations from fighter superiority to deep space reconnaissance. These spaceborne units not only provide tactical flexibility, but also ensure the ship maintains its dominance in both offensive and defensive engagements. The Star Destroyer's complement is optimized for high-intensity fleet engagements, planetary sieges, and long-duration missions, with a focus on rapid deployment and sustained operations. Starfighters aboard both classes of Imperial Star Destroyers fulfill several key roles, each specialized for specific combat situations. The primary unit is the TIE Fighter, a versatile and highly agile starfighter that serves as the backbone of the ship's fighter complement. TIE Fighters are multi-role craft, capable of intercepting enemy fighters, providing screening for the Star Destroyer, and engaging in hit-and-run tactics. They are equipped with twin laser cannons, offering sustained firepower, and their design prioritizes speed and maneuverability over durability, which makes them formidable in combat when employed in swarms. In addition to TIE Fighters, both Imperial classes deploy TIE Interceptors, which are designed for superior speed and agility, enhancing the ship's capability to neutralize enemy fighters and bombers. These starfighters are equipped with advanced weapon systems, such as laser cannons and missiles, optimized for swift engagements with enemy craft. Their lightweight construction and enhanced maneuvering thrusters allow for rapid interception of hostile forces, making them essential for fleet defense and control of the space around the ship. Heavy bombers, such as the TIE Bomber, are also integral to the Star Destroyer's complement. These bombers are armed with proton bombs, torpedoes, and advanced missile payloads, enabling them to strike larger targets such as capital ships, space stations, or planetary defenses. While slower than interceptors and standard starfighters, TIE bombers are heavily armed and capable of delivering significant damage to enemy targets, often acting in coordinated strikes with other bombers or under escort from TIE fighters. Their dual-engine configuration ensures enough thrust to carry heavy ordnance, while still maintaining combat capability. In addition to the TIE series of craft, both Imperial Star Destroyer variants deploy specialized reconnaissance and electronic warfare (EW) craft, though these are typically fewer in number. These craft are equipped with advanced sensor systems and communication jammers, enabling them to gather intelligence, jam enemy communications, or disrupt targeting systems during combat. Reconnaissance craft are capable of scouting ahead of the fleet, identifying enemy forces and transmitting real-time information back to the Star Destroyer, contributing significantly to operational awareness and tactical decision-making. Launch and recovery systems for these starfighters are robust and optimized for rapid deployment and retrieval under combat conditions. The Star Destroyer utilizes large ventral and dorsal hangars capable of housing and launching starfighters. A combination of automated rearming systems, maintenance bays, and quick-launch catapults facilitates the efficient launch of craft at a moment's notice. Each hangar is designed to handle rapid deployment, ensuring that the starfighter complement can be dispatched quickly for defense or offensive missions. Upon returning, starfighters use automated landing systems to dock, refuel, and rearm, which ensures minimal downtime between sorties. These hangars are equipped with retractable blast doors and reinforced structures to protect the ships and their complement from enemy fire during launch and recovery. Maintaining the starfighters and ensuring their operational readiness are key functions of the support and maintenance facilities aboard the Star Destroyer. Dedicated repair bays and storage areas are equipped to handle the heavy wear that starfighters experience in combat. Repair droids, engineers, and maintenance crews work tirelessly to keep the fighter fleet in top condition, performing essential tasks such as replacing power cells, repairing hull damage, and performing upgrades to weapon systems or shields. The Imperial II-class Star Destroyer includes improved automated systems that enhance maintenance efficiency, allowing for quicker turnaround times during prolonged engagements. Command and control for the flight complement is centralized through the ship's bridge and flight control centers, where communication channels and tactical management systems are dedicated to coordinating fighter deployments. The tactical officer and the fighter control officers work closely to assign combat roles to each unit. Monitoring fighter status, fuel levels, and ammunition, AESCI, support and auxiliary craft are essential to the operational flexibility of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer. These craft include medical shuttles for evacuating casualties, cargo transports for resupply operations, and refueling craft that ensure extended operations for the starfighters. Medical shuttles are equipped with advanced life support systems to handle large-scale casualty evacuations, while cargo transports can carry essential supplies including spare parts for starfighters, food, and ammunition. Refueling craft support the starfighters by replenishing their fuel stores in flight, enabling sustained combat missions without the need to return to the main vessel for refueling. The capacity for starfighters aboard both the Imperial and Imperial Naibusha class Star Destroyers is substantial though it varies slightly based on mission configuration. The standard complement typically includes up to 72 TIE fighters, along with additional support craft such as bombers, interceptors, and reconnaissance units. However, this number may fluctuate depending on the ship's specific mission profile. For example, a Star Destroyer tasked with planetary siege operations might allocate more bombers, whereas a ship supporting fleet defense operations would prioritize interceptors and multi-role fighters. Despite the impressive capabilities of the Star Destroyer's flight space complement, operational limitations do exist. Starfighters, although fast and agile, are still vulnerable to concentrated enemy fire, particularly in large-scale battles where multiple enemies are involved. Furthermore, their range is limited by fuel capacity, and while refueling craft extend their operational endurance, they still cannot match the range or firepower of capital ships. Starfighters also rely heavily on the Star Destroyer's support infrastructure, meaning they are vulnerable when separated from the fleet or during extended engagements away from the ship. In summary, the flight space complement aboard the Imperial class and Imperial II class Star Destroyers is designed to support a broad spectrum of tactical operations, with starfighters, bombers, and specialized craft playing critical roles in the ship's overall combat strategy. These units provide the Star Destroyer with the necessary flexibility to perform a wide range of mission types, from space superiority to direct assaults on enemy targets. The integration of automated systems, specialized maintenance, and support craft ensures that the Star Destroyer's complement is always ready for deployment, maintaining operational effectiveness throughout extended missions and high-intensity combat engagements. The ground forces complement aboard both the Imperial-class Star Destroyer and its Imperial II-class variant is a critical component of the ship's broader strategic mission, ensuring it can project power not only in space but also on the surface of planets. These ground units are specifically designed to support planetary operations, including the deployment of stormtroopers, specialized personnel, and vehicles, as well as providing logistical and tactical support for ground-based operations. The ground forces complement allows the Star Destroyer to conduct planetary sieges, support surface engagements, and conduct large-scale boarding actions, making it a versatile and formidable tool for the Empire. The ground forces complement typically includes a substantial number of personnel, ranging from infantry to specialized troops such as engineers, communications officers, and support units. These forces are essential for planetary operations, including establishing control over contested zones, securing landing sites, and facilitating the occupation or subjugation of hostile territories. The ship is capable of deploying large numbers of stormtroopers, and additional specialized units like the Imperial Army or Imperial Navy personnel are often integrated into these operations. Troop transports are primarily responsible for moving these personnel between the Star Destroyer and planetary surfaces, with a focus on rapid deployment and force protection during landings. Troop transport craft, including assault shuttles, landing craft, and boarding pods, form the backbone of the ground force deployment system aboard both Imperial classes. These transports are designed for both planetary insertions and boarding actions, ensuring the ship's ability to conduct a wide range of operations. Assault shuttles, often used in early stages of deployment, are fast, well-armed craft capable of quickly delivering troops into hostile environments. These shuttles are equipped with light weaponry such as blaster cannons and small turbo lasers to protect against small-scale resistance during the deployment process. Boarding pods are smaller, more specialized units designed for boarding enemy ships or installations, allowing for rapid troop insertion through enemy hulls. These craft are typically equipped with reinforced armor to withstand enemy fire during the boarding process. Combat and support vehicles carried by the Star Destroyer are integral to the success of ground operations, offering direct fire support, mobility, and logistical capabilities once forces are on the surface. Armored ground assault vehicles, such as the AT-AT and AT-ST walkers, are crucial for establishing ground dominance in planetary engagements. These vehicles are heavily armed with powerful blasters and advanced armor, making them formidable against both infantry and light vehicles. They are often used in conjunction with ground forces to provide suppression fire and force protection during assaults on fortified positions. Support vehicles, such as supply transports and medical evacuation vehicles, also play vital roles in sustaining ground operations. These vehicles ensure that troops receive necessary resupplies, ammunition, and medical attention, supporting the ongoing combat effort and ensuring operational continuity. The deployment of ground vehicles and troops from the Star Destroyer is facilitated through well-organized storage and deployment systems. The ship's hangar bays are equipped with large ramps, bay doors, and drop zones that allow for efficient unloading and rapid deployment of both personnel and vehicles. Vehicles are stored within specialized sections of the hangar, designed for quick access and swift deployment. The deployment systems are designed for high-speed operations, allowing for swift troop insertion and minimizing the time between arrival in the battle zone and engagement with the enemy. Once the ground forces are deployed, coordination with the ship's tactical command systems ensures that they are properly supported, including through communications relays and air support. The total capacity of both the Imperial class and Imperial II class Star Destroyers for passengers and cargo is significant, with the ships able to carry thousands of personnel along with a substantial amount of equipment and vehicles. The cargo capacity is managed through dedicated storage areas, with sections designed to house everything from small arms to heavy artillery and vehicles. This allows for sustained operations once ground forces are deployed, ensuring they have the necessary supplies to maintain a prolonged presence on the surface. The Star Destroyer's cargo bays are also capable of carrying a wide variety of equipment for different mission profiles, such as construction gear, demolition charges, and heavy weaponry. The coordination and communication between the Star Destroyer's command crew and the deployed ground forces is a key aspect of the ship's operational success. The ship's command center is responsible for planning and directing planetary operations, ensuring that ground forces are properly supported and synchronized with the larger battle plan. Communication systems relay tactical data between the ship and ground units, ensuring real-time situational awareness and the ability to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. The ship's sensors and monitoring systems provide ground commanders with detailed intelligence, while the Imperial Star Destroyer's tactical officers maintain overall control over ground operations and coordination with aerial support. The Star Destroyer also provides ongoing support to ground forces after initial deployment. This includes air support in the form of starfighters and bombers, providing cover for troops and suppressing enemy positions. Additionally, the ship can facilitate medical evacuations and provide resupply drops for personnel on the surface. In the event of casualties, medical evacuation shuttles are available to transport injured personnel back to the Star Destroyer for treatment, while ground forces can be resupplied with ammunition, food, and other essential materials. The ship's capability to offer continuous logistical support ensures that deployed units are never without the resources they need to complete their mission. However, there are certain operational challenges associated with the ground forces complement. The sheer size of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer limits the number of vehicles and troops it can carry for planetary operations. While the ship is capable of deploying large numbers of personnel and vehicles, this is still a finite capacity, and extensive ground operations may require additional logistical support or the use of additional craft. Another challenge is the vulnerability of the Star Destroyer during landing and pickup operations. The ship is highly visible and cannot easily escape enemy fire while conducting these operations, making it susceptible to attack during these vulnerable moments. Furthermore, ground operations in hostile environments present significant risks to personnel and vehicles, requiring careful planning and execution to mitigate these threats. In summary, the ground forces complement aboard the Imperial class and Imperial II class Star Destroyers is designed to provide robust support for planetary operations, including rapid deployment of troops, vehicles, and equipment. The ship's ground forces play an essential role in securing planetary objectives, conducting boarding actions, and supporting extended surface operations. With specialized transport and combat vehicles, advanced deployment systems, and ongoing logistical support, the Star Destroyer's ground forces are capable of maintaining sustained pressure on the enemy during planetary engagements. Despite the limitations in terms of personnel capacity and vulnerability during landing and extraction, the Star Destroyer remains a powerful asset for the Empire's ground-based operations, ensuring dominance in both space and on the surface. The production of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer and its Imperial II-class variant involves a complex, high-scale process that integrates cutting-edge manufacturing techniques, logistical coordination, and resource management. These ships are designed to be mass-produced with a focus on military efficiency, cost-effectiveness, and technological sophistication. The production process is divided into several phases, from initial design to final integration and deployment. These phases reflect both the technological capabilities of the shipyards and the strategic objectives behind their mass production. The production process begins with the conceptualization and design phase. This phase includes the creation of detailed specifications, considering both the tactical and logistical requirements of the Empire's fleet. The Imperial-class Star Destroyers are built for dominance in space combat, designed to combine firepower, durability, and advanced technology in a platform that can be mass-produced for deployment across the galaxy. During the design phase, engineers and ship designers create models and simulations to evaluate performance characteristics, including speed, firepower, armor, and onboard systems. Prototypes are developed to test these designs in real-world conditions, addressing issues such as system integration, energy efficiency, and spaceborne combat readiness. Once the prototype has passed initial testing, adjustments are made to improve reliability and ensure compatibility with the rest of the fleet's assets, allowing for efficient deployment and coordinated operations. The materials used in the construction of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer are of paramount importance to the overall performance, durability, and cost-effectiveness of the vessel. Durasteel, reinforced composites, and hyperalloy are among the primary materials employed in the ship's construction. Durasteel is a durable alloy used in the ship's hull and primary structure, providing a robust barrier against external threats such as enemy fire and debris. Reinforced composites and hyperalloy are used in specific sections of the ship, such as the shields and critical system components, to provide enhanced protection against energy-based attacks. These materials are sourced from specialized mining operations across the galaxy, refined through advanced processing facilities, and transported to shipyards via an extensive logistical network. The manufacturing techniques used to process and shape these materials include precision casting, high-energy welding, and advanced modular assembly, allowing for the construction of large-scale, durable components. Component production is one of the most intricate and resource-intensive aspects of shipbuilding. Major subsystems such as the engines, reactors, weapons, communication arrays, and shield generators are produced separately before being integrated into the main body of the ship. Engine manufacturing, for example, requires the assembly of complex turbine arrays and ion propulsion units, which are then tested for performance and efficiency. The reactor assembly focuses on ensuring the stability and energy output needed to power the ship's systems, including weapons, shields, and propulsion. Communication arrays and sensor systems are engineered for maximum range and reliability, with redundant systems in place to ensure continuous operation even under adverse conditions. Weapon systems such as turbo lasers and ion cannons are constructed with precision to provide overwhelming firepower, while shield generators are designed to create powerful energy fields capable of absorbing large amounts of damage. Once the individual components are produced, the shipbuilding process moves to the assembly line and integration phase. This involves the assembly of the individual subsystems into a functional spacecraft. The modular construction approach allows for the components to be assembled in a systematic manner, with large sections of the ship built separately and then integrated into the final structure. This process minimizes the need for rework and allows for faster turnaround times. However, challenges arise in the integration of systems, particularly in ensuring that the ship's power systems, weapons, and communication arrays work harmoniously. Automated assembly systems and advanced AI tools are employed to streamline this process, reducing human error and improving efficiency. These tools also assist with the installation of heavy components, such as the engines and turbo laser batteries, which require precision and strength during placement. Quality control and testing are critical throughout the production process, ensuring that every system and component performs as expected before the ship is delivered to the fleet. System tests include checks for weapons performance, reactor stability, engine efficiency, and shield strength. These tests are conducted in controlled environments, simulating battle conditions to verify the ship's capabilities. Safety checks are conducted on every subsystem, with redundancies and fail-safes installed to protect against catastrophic failure. Finally, a series of real-world inspections and stress tests are carried out to ensure that the ship is fully operational and ready for combat, with particular attention paid to the integrity of the hull and critical systems. Customization and modularity are essential in adapting the Imperial-class Star Destroyer to various mission profiles. While the ship's core design remains largely standardized, certain modifications can be made during the production phase to tailor the ship to specific operational needs. For example, weapons loadouts can be adjusted, with heavier or lighter weapon configurations depending on the intended role, such as a focus on anti-capital ship or anti-starfighter engagements. Additionally, special technology can be integrated, such as enhanced sensors for reconnaissance or communication equipment for fleet coordination. The modularity of the Star Destroyer allows for relatively simple upgrades during production or post-production refits, ensuring that the ship remains versatile and adaptable over its service life. The scale of the factories and shipyards used to construct the Imperial-class Star Destroyer is immense, with large-scale manufacturing facilities dedicated to the production of capital ships. These facilities are located in key industrial centers and shipyards, often built in orbit around strategic planets or in deep space locations to facilitate efficient construction. The workforce involved in the production process is highly specialized, with thousands of engineers, technicians, and assembly workers dedicated to the construction and integration of the ship's systems. The construction of a single Imperial-class Star Destroyer takes several months, depending on the complexity of the systems being installed and the availability of materials. However, due to the scale of the production facilities, multiple ships can be built concurrently, enabling rapid fleet scaling. Logistics and supply chain management play a significant role in ensuring that the necessary materials, components, and subsystems are delivered to the shipyards on time. Given the immense scale of the shipbuilding operation, the supply chain is intricate and requires careful coordination to manage the transport of materials across vast distances. The logistical network involves transport ships, cargo drones, and storage depots that keep the production line stocked with the necessary raw materials and manufactured components. Any disruptions in the supply chain can lead to delays in production, affecting the overall fleet building timeline. Production rates and fleet scaling are influenced by several factors, including resource availability, manufacturing capacity, and labor force. Typically, Imperial-class Star Destroyers can be produced at a rate of 1 per several months, though this varies depending on the size of the shipyard and available workforce. The production rate of other ship classes, such as cruisers or destroyers, is generally faster due to their smaller size and reduced component complexity. As a result, the Empire can scale its fleet by balancing production between capital ships and smaller, more numerous vessels. However, resource constraints, such as limitations on materials or labor, can slow production rates, particularly during times of conflict when shipyards are operating at full capacity. Post-production modifications and upgrades are common practice, especially as fleet requirements evolve or as individual ships age. Upgrades may include replacing outdated weapon systems with newer, more powerful models, enhancing shield technology, or improving the efficiency of the reactor. These upgrades are typically carried out in specialized facilities after the ship has been commissioned into service, though certain modifications can be completed during the production phase. The cost of producing an Imperial-class Star Destroyer is significant, with the ship's materials, labor, and technology contributing to its high price. Estimates suggest that each Imperial-class Star Destroyer costs several hundred million credits to produce, though exact figures can vary depending on the specific configuration and modifications required. The cost of maintaining the ship, including fuel, crew training, and operational expenses, adds an additional layer to the overall financial commitment. Despite its high initial cost, the Star Destroyer is designed for long-term service, offering a cost-effective platform for dominating space and ensuring the Empire's control over its territories. In conclusion, the production of the Imperial-class Star Destroyer is a highly specialized, complex process that integrates advanced design, manufacturing, and logistical capabilities. The result is a powerful and versatile warship that can be mass-produced to serve as the backbone of the Imperial fleet. Despite the significant costs involved, the ship's ability to project power, maintain fleet control, and adapt to evolving missions ensures its place as a cornerstone of Imperial military strategy. The first vessel of this formidable warship line was christened the Executrix, a name that would soon strike fear into the hearts of all who opposed the rising Galactic Empire. The second, the Exactor, carried an even greater distinction. It became the personal flagship of Darth Vader, the Emperor's feared enforcer and the most infamous warrior of the new regime. This vessel would serve as a symbol of Vader's ruthless efficiency and the crushing power of the Imperial war machine. Among the early models of this class, one bore the name Imperator, a title that not only exuded authority but also shared its name with the very classification of the ship itself. However, following the cataclysmic Great Jedi Purge and the final collapse of the Republic in 19 BBY, the newly established Empire sought to consolidate its identity and cement its dominance over the galaxy. To that end, the Imperator class was officially rebranded as the Imperial-class Star Destroyer. This rebranding was more than just a name change. It marked the dawn of a new era of warfare. With the Empire's industrial might now fully unleashed, production of the class was ramped up to unprecedented levels, ensuring that these titanic warships became the backbone of the Imperial Navy. Their design was further refined, maximizing firepower, resilience, and command capabilities, making them the ultimate symbol of Imperial strength. Yet, despite the official renaming, traces of the original Imperator designation lingered. Some internal Imperial documents continue to reference the class by its former name, a relic of its origins buried beneath the rapidly shifting tides of history. But regardless of the terminology used, one fact remained undeniable. The Imperial-class Star Destroyer was the Empire's iron fist, a relentless enforcer of its will, and a harbinger of destruction for any who dared to resist its rule. The Imperial-class Star Destroyers carved out a legendary reputation within the Imperial Starfleet, where they stood as towering symbols of the Empire's absolute authority and military supremacy, for better or worse. Their arrival on the battlefield often signaled the end of resistance, serving as both a weapon of war and a psychological tool of intimidation. As these massive warships became the backbone of the Imperial Navy, they gradually rendered older vessels, such as the venerable Venator-class Star Destroyers of the Clone Wars era, obsolete. The era of sleek, red-painted Republic cruisers gave way to the cold, monolithic wedge of the Imperial class, a design philosophy that emphasized fear, firepower, and unwavering dominance. These warships were more than just heavily armed cruisers. They were instruments of destruction, capable of bombarding entire worlds into submission, so long as those planets lacked the protection of powerful planetary shields. Their immense firepower, combined with their ability to deploy legions of stormtroopers and entire wings of TIE fighters, made them the ultimate enforcers of Imperial rule. Yet, despite their overwhelming might, these vessels were not solely weapons of conquest. In some cases, they functioned as peacekeeping battleships, patrolling vital hyperlanes, securing key Imperial holdings, and crushing insurrections before they could spread. The scale of Imperial-class production was staggering. According to official records, the Empire commissioned and fielded over 25,000 of these warships, a number that dwarfed the starfleets of nearly every other galactic power in history. The sheer demand for Star Destroyers pushed Kuwait Drive Yards, the primary manufacturer, to its limits. To keep up with the Navy's insatiable need for more vessels, KDY subcontracted the production of Imperial-class ships to other shipwrights across the galaxy. This decentralization led to subtle variations in design, as different manufacturers introduced their own modifications and quirks. Among these variations, one of the most notable came from the Corellian Engineering Corporation. Known for their expertise in building fast and maneuverable ships, CEC-produced Imperial-class Star Destroyers were considered the swiftest in the fleet, excelling in both sublight acceleration and hyperspace speed. Though this speed advantage did little to change their core tactical role, It provided Imperial commanders with increased flexibility, allowing for rapid deployments, swift pursuit of fleeing enemies, and more efficient patrols of the Empire's vast territory. In every corner of the galaxy, the sight of an Imperial-class Star Destroyer hanging ominously in the sky sent an unmistakable message. The Empire was watching, and its reach was absolute. Within sector-level fleets, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer was the undisputed centerpiece of the Imperial Navy's doctrine, serving as a battleship and flagship for the formidable units known as battle squadrons. Each of these squadrons operated as the primary strike force within a sector group, the standard fleet formation responsible for patrolling and securing an entire sector of Imperial space. A full sector group consisted of 24 Imperial-class Star Destroyers, ensuring that no rebellion, pirate incursion, or external threat could challenge the Empire's dominance unopposed. Though commonly deployed as part of larger formations, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer was also observed to operate independently for extended periods, often patrolling deep space trade routes, suppressing uprisings, or enforcing Imperial law in distant systems. Unlike more specialized warships that required significant logistical support, these vessels were designed to function autonomously, carrying enough supplies, fuel, and personnel to sustain operations far from Imperial shipyards or supply lines. In doing so, they became self-sufficient symbols of Imperial might, looming over planetary populations as both a deterrent and an executioner. Despite its classification as a destroyer, the Imperial class was a true multi-role capital ship, combining the speed and aggression of a hunter with the endurance of a battleship. It was fast enough to chase down blockade runners and engage nimble rebel corvettes while carrying enough firepower to stand toe-to-toe with enemy fleets. In larger naval engagements, it took on a more traditional role, serving as an escort for Imperial Star Cruisers and Star Dreadnoughts, providing both defensive support and overwhelming firepower. Whether leading planetary invasions, serving as the vanguard of a larger Imperial battle group, or acting as the sole enforcer in a contested system, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer was a strategic keystone of the Empire's galactic war machine. With its immense versatility, unmatched presence, and devastating firepower, the Imperial class cemented itself as more than just a warship. It became the embodiment of the Empire's iron grip over the galaxy. When Darth Vader launched his infamous assault on Hoth, he personally led the attack from the bridge of the mighty Executor, his fearsome Star Dreadnought. Accompanying him was a formidable flotilla of Imperial-class Star Destroyers, the backbone of Death Squadron, an elite Imperial battle group assembled specifically for hunting down and annihilating the Rebel Alliance. As the fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Empire's full military might descended upon the icy world, intending to crush the rebellion once and for all. Despite the overwhelming firepower and tactical superiority of the Imperial fleet, the rebels had prepared formidable defenses. Chief among them was a massive heavy ion cannon, powered by the reactor of a repurposed battlecruiser. As the first wave of Imperial-class Star Destroyers moved into position, this weapon proved devastating. Its powerful ion blasts effortlessly bypassed the shields of individual Star Destroyers, disabling their systems and leaving them adrift in orbit. One by one, Imperial warships were rendered helpless, allowing Rebel transports to escape through the Empire's tightening noose. Although the overwhelming Imperial assault eventually forced the Rebels to abandon their Echo base, the fleet's inability to immediately cut off their escape was a bitter setback for Vader. The Battle of Hoth, though a tactical victory for the Empire, showcased the vulnerability of even the mighty Imperial class when faced with well-placed defensive weaponry. Nevertheless, the power of Death Squadron remained undeniable. Had it not been for the Rebels' last-minute evacuation, the Imperial-class Star Destroyers would have ensured the complete and utter annihilation of the Rebel presence on Hoth. Then, in the era of the New Republic, Imperial-class Star Destroyers remained a crucial component of the fractured Empire's war machine. No longer the undisputed rulers of the galaxy, these once dominant battleships were increasingly used in an escort and support role for the larger, more devastating warships that the remnants of the Empire still possessed. One of the most significant campaigns where they played this role was Operation Shadow Hand in 10 ABY, a bold, last-ditch effort by the reborn Emperor Palpatine to reclaim the lost territories of his fallen empire. During this campaign, the Super Star Destroyer Allegiance spearheaded a powerful Imperial task force, leading an armada of Imperial-class Star Destroyers and the dreaded World Devastators into battle. This fearsome fleet clashed with New Republic forces during the First Battle of Mon Calamari, a pivotal engagement that threatened one of the Rebellion's most vital shipbuilding worlds. The Imperial-class Star Destroyers played a key role in this attack, providing defensive screening for the Super Star Destroyers while also enforcing planetary bombardment and engaging New Republic capital ships in direct combat. The assault on Mon Calamari was just one of many fleet actions conducted under Operation Shadow Hand, a campaign that saw the Empire's forces striking out from the deep core in an attempt to retake key strongholds. Unlike previous Imperial offensives, this operation made heavy use of multiple types of superstar destroyers, each supported by Imperial-class Star Destroyers acting as escorts, fire support vessels, and troop carriers. While these warships had once symbolized the height of Imperial strength, by this point in the war they had been relegated to a secondary role, outclassed by the terrifying new superweapons and experimental starships that Palpatine's Dark Science divisions had devised. Despite their diminished status, the Imperial-class Star Destroyers remained a formidable presence in these battles, proving that even in the twilight of the Empire, they were still instruments of destruction capable of shaking the galaxy. In the aftermath of the Galactic Civil War, the New Republic inherited numerous Imperial I-class Star Destroyers, many of which were either captured in battle or surrendered by defecting Imperial forces. While some were decommissioned or repurposed for planetary defense, others were extensively refitted to serve new roles within the New Republic defense fleet. One such vessel, the Mon Mothma, underwent a notable modification. It was equipped with gravity well projectors, transforming it into a powerful interdiction vessel. This upgrade gave the New Republic a strategic advantage by allowing the Mon Mothma to prevent enemy ships from escaping into hyperspace, a capability previously seen in dedicated interdictor cruisers like the Immobilizer 418. By integrating this technology into an Imperial I-class hull, the New Republic effectively created a warship that combined heavy firepower, carrier capabilities, and interdiction functions into a single, formidable package. This adaptation reflected the New Republic's evolving tactics. Rather than simply mimicking the Empire's reliance on overwhelming force, they sought to employ precision and strategic control over the battlefield. The refitting of former Imperial warships like the Mon Mothma also symbolized a broader shift in the galaxy's power structure. Once instruments of oppression under the Empire, these vessels were now being used to uphold the ideals of the New Republic, ensuring stability and security in a post-Imperial era. While Imperial-class Star Destroyers were typically the pride of government fleets, one such vessel found itself in the hands of a private individual, the legendary smuggler Booster Terek. Originally commissioned as the Virulence, this Star Destroyer was an Imperial warship before falling into the hands of the New Republic. Following the decisive Battle of Thyfera, which brought an end to the Bacta War, Booster laid claim to the vessel, renaming it the Errant Venture. However, owning a Star Destroyer was one thing. Maintaining it was another matter entirely. For years, the Errant Venture remained in a state of disrepair, as the immense costs of fueling, crewing, and repairing such a massive vessel were beyond even Booster's considerable resources. On top of that, the New Republic, wary of allowing a civilian to wield the full firepower of an Imperial-class Star Destroyer, stripped the vessel of nearly all its weapons. Booster was left with only 10 operational turbolasers, and even those were prone to malfunctions due to the ship's deteriorating state. Despite these limitations, he found ways to make use of his prized warship, often employing it as a mobile base of operations for smugglers, traders, and other independent operators. The Errant Venture remained in this weakened state for years, until Booster struck a deal with the New Republic. In exchange for allowing his Star Destroyer to be used in a high-stakes special operations raid on an Imperial stronghold, the Republic provided him with a much-needed refit. This overhaul restored the vessel to a more combat-ready state, significantly improving its operational capability. However, its most striking transformation was purely cosmetic. Rather than keeping the traditional cold white-gray hull of Imperial warships, Booster had the Errant Venture painted deep red, making it one of the most distinctive and recognizable Star Destroyers in the galaxy. More than just a warship, the errant venture became a legend, a rogue Star Destroyer roaming the galaxy, free from any government's control, owned by a man who once sat in an Imperial prison cell. From a symbol of tyranny to a beacon of independence, it was a ship that defied the odds much like its unconventional owner. By 9 Buzdawai, the legendary Kuat drive yards, the manufacturing giant behind many of the galaxy's most formidable warships, had ceased production of the Imperial I-class Star Destroyer. The final vessel of its class, the Devastator, marked the end of an era. Though the Imperial I had become synonymous with Imperial dominance, its design was slowly being eclipsed by newer, more advanced warship classes. However, some Imperial I-class Star Destroyers, including the Devastator, underwent critical upgrades to extend their service life. These modifications included the addition of new bridges equipped with communication towers, a feature borrowed from the newer Imperial II-class vessels. This upgrade improved their command and control capabilities, making them more effective in fleet coordination, though they still lacked the firepower and resilience of their successors. Around 5 BBY Kuat drive yards shifted gears, beginning production on the upgraded Imperial II-class Star Destroyer. This newer model featured improved shields, more powerful turbolasers, and other design enhancements that made it a more formidable force on the battlefield. The Imperial II quickly became the primary workhorse of the Imperial Navy, overshadowing its predecessor in both role and prestige. The Imperial II-class Star Destroyer lineage began with its prototype, the Empire, commanded by the esteemed Admiral Fayette Keats. This initial vessel was an advanced model, even more powerful than the later ships of the class. The Empire quickly gained a reputation, one that rivaled the legendary Executor-class Star Dreadnought in both awe and terror. Its might and imposing presence on the battlefield set the standard for what would become one of the most formidable classes of warships in the Imperial Navy. Unlike its successors, the Empire boasted enhanced firepower and more refined systems, making it a true symbol of the Empire's technological prowess. Its reputation for dominance was well earned, and it became a symbol of Imperial strength that echoed across the galaxy. Its performance in battle proved that the Imperial-class ships were not only capable of devastating entire fleets, but also establishing a new era of power for the Empire, solidifying the Imperial Navy's superiority. Shortly before the Battle of Yavin, the first operational Imperial II-class Star Destroyers began to enter service, marking the beginning of a new era for the Imperial fleet. These ships, while not as formidable as the Empire, still carried the legacy of its power and the ambition of Imperial command. They quickly became the backbone of the Imperial Navy, spreading their influence across the galaxy and becoming the dominant force in space warfare for years to come. By 0 BBY, the Imperial Navy had already deployed several Imperial II-class Star Destroyers across key theaters of the Galactic Civil War. One such fleet, consisting of at least 4 Imperial II-class Star Destroyers, was stationed above the planet Scarif, the location of the Empire's most classified installation, the Death Star. This fleet, numbering roughly 20 ships in total, was stationed to defend the secretive planet and the mighty weapon under construction there. Scarif would later become the focal point of the Rebel Alliance's daring mission to steal the Death Star plans, but at that time, the Imperial II-class vessels patrolling the system were a symbol of the Empire's iron grip on its most dangerous secrets. During the Battle of Hoth, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyers played a crucial role in the Empire's assault against the Rebel Alliance. Among those ships were the Avenger and the Stalker, both powerful examples of the class's devastating firepower and operational versatility. As the battle raged on, these ships led the charge in attempting to crush the rebel forces and secure the Empire's hold over the galaxy. Their imposing presence in the battle was a testament to the growing might of the Imperial Navy, which had come to rely on these ships as the cornerstone of their military operations. In the final years of Emperor Palpatine's rule, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyers became instrumental in executing the Tarkin Doctrine, a brutal military strategy aimed at using overwhelming force to maintain control over the galaxy. The doctrine, named after Wilhuff Tarkin, promoted the idea of fear as a weapon, using vast destructive power to intimidate and subdue entire systems. The Imperial-class Star Destroyers, with their enormous firepower and imposing presence, were perfectly suited for this strategy. Under the Tarkin Doctrine, these ships became symbols of Imperial oppression. They were used not only as warships but as tools of terror, ensuring that any planet or system that dared resist the Empire would be swiftly crushed. The Imperial Navy's reliance on these ships for such a strategy allowed Palpatine's regime to extend its reach and maintain dominance, though it ultimately became one of the contributing factors to the Empire's downfall. The heavy-handed tactics of the Imperial II-class Star Destroyers would haunt the galaxy for years, with many of their acts of terror leaving deep scars long after the Empire's collapse. The Imperial II-class Star Destroyers also played a significant role in the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY, a defining conflict that would mark the fall of the Galactic Empire. As part of the Imperial fleet, these Star Destroyers were heavily involved in the assault against the Rebel Alliance. During the battle, the tide of war turned in favor of the rebellion, thanks to daring maneuvers and heroic actions by the Alliance pilots. One such pivotal moment came when Arvel Crinid, a skilled rebel pilot, launched a courageous attack on the Imperial fleet. In an effort to protect the rebel cruiser Home 1, Crinid targeted the barbette mountings, the massive turbo laser weapon emplacements, on several Imperial II-class Star Destroyers. His attack was successful, destroying the mountings and significantly weakening the firepower of the Imperial ships. This action not only protected the Home One, but also showcased the bravery and resourcefulness of the rebel forces, who were determined to stand against the overwhelming power of the Empire. The destruction of the barbette mountings on these Imperial Star Destroyers marked a turning point in the battle. It demonstrated that the Rebel Alliance, despite being outgunned, was capable of inflicting significant damage on even the most formidable of Imperial warships. The action helped to level the playing field, contributing to the ultimate victory of the rebel forces and the fall of Emperor Palpatine. For the Imperial II-class Star Destroyers, this was one of the final acts of a proud and fearsome class of warships that had once been the backbone of Imperial control across the galaxy. 17 days after the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY, the galaxy was still reeling from the monumental defeat of the Galactic Empire at the hands of the Rebel Alliance. The death of Emperor Palpatine and the subsequent retreat of Imperial forces left the Empire fractured and in disarray, with no clear path forward for its future. Amidst this chaos, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer Torment found itself at the center of an unexpected and sinister mission. Captain Lair Duva was aboard the Torment when a mysterious messenger droid arrived with an eerie directive: a posthumous message from the dead Emperor himself. The message, encoded in a final act of Imperial ruthlessness, contained orders to activate Operation Cinder, a contingency plan devised by Palpatine to ensure the Empire's ultimate revenge on both its enemies and its allies, should the Emperor ever fall. As part of this plan, the Torment was tasked with a devastating mission: to scour the planet Naboo, Palpatine's homeworld, using weather-altering satellites to decimate its environment and infrastructure. The very planet where Palpatine had once risen to power would now serve as a test of the Emperor's final, scorched Earth vision. The destruction of Naboo was not only a personal vendetta, but also a calculated part of a larger scheme designed to cripple the galaxy in the wake of the Empire's collapse. Even in death, Palpatine sought to inflict devastation on those who had turned against him, ensuring that no victory, neither for the rebellion nor for any potential successor to the throne, would be without consequence. For Captain Duva, the orders were clear: follow through with the contingency. Though the Imperial forces were already retreating into the fringes of the galaxy, the Torment was still a symbol of the Empire's power, and its final act of obedience to a dead emperor would send a signal of defiance to the galaxy, one that would echo for years to come. Assisted by Lieutenant Gulen, Captain Lair Duva wasted no time in setting a course for Naboo. The orders were clear: execute the Emperor's plan, regardless of the cost. Upon the Torment's arrival in orbit above the planet, Duva wasted no time in deploying the weather-altering satellites, the instruments that would trigger catastrophic storms across the peaceful world of Naboo, fulfilling Palpatine's vision of retribution. The once idyllic planet was about to become a battleground, as massive storms began to ravage its atmosphere, threatening to reshape Naboo's landscape. Yet Palpatine's destructive legacy faced unexpected resistance. A small but determined group of N-1 starfighters, piloted by rebels Shara Bey, Leia Organa, and Sosha Saruna, launched a daring attack on the satellites, attempting to disable them before the storm could fully take hold. Their courage in the face of such overwhelming Imperial power was a testament to the rebels' resolve. In response, Captain Duval ordered the immediate deployment of the Torment's complement of TIE fighters. These formidable starfighters tore into the atmosphere, engaging the rebel pilots in a desperate aerial dogfight above Naboo's troubled skies. The battle was fierce, but Duvas' loyalty to the Emperor's final command remained unshaken, even as his forces clashed with the daring rebels intent on stopping the devastation. The storm of conflict on Naboo was not just a physical battle, but a symbol of the final, violent clash between the dying Imperial regime and the rising hopes of the rebellion. One last brutal strike before the Empire could no longer impose its will on the galaxy. Just as the three rebel starfighters, Shara Bey, Leia Organa, and Sosha Saruna, were about to be overwhelmed by the relentless onslaught of TIE fighters, the tide of battle shifted. From the distant reaches of space, the Rebel Alliance made its timely entrance, led by the MC-80 Star Cruiser Restoration, a symbol of the rebellion's enduring strength. The restoration brought with it a host of rebel starfighters, including the renowned Danger Squadron, a fleet of X-Wing starfighters led by the seasoned rebel veteran Shriv Surgav. Among the ranks of the squadron were former Imperial soldiers turned rebels, Iden Versio and Del Mico of the infamous Inferno Squad. Together with the Naboo N-1 starfighters, this united force turned the tide. The rebels launched a coordinated strike against the Torment satellites, systematically destroying the weather-altering devices before they could cause any more destruction. But the battle was far from over. Despite their best efforts, the Torment refused to surrender. In a final act of defiance, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer attempted a tactical retreat, seeking to escape the rebel ambush and regroup with Imperial forces. However, the rebels were relentless, and the Torment was eventually destroyed in the ensuing firefight, its once mighty hull succumbing to the combined firepower of rebel starfighters and the Restoration's heavy weapons. Yet, before its destruction, the Torment still managed to unleash one last act of Imperial aggression. The Star Destroyer deployed part of its planetary assault force, a group of ground troops poised to strike at the heart of Naboo. They made their way to Theed, the planet's capital, and briefly launched an attack, seeking to sow chaos and fear among the Naboo people. But the force was short-lived. As they stormed the capital, Theed's royal palace unleashed an ion pulse, disabling the Imperial forces and rendering them vulnerable to capture. In a final act of defiance, the remnants of the planetary assault force were captured, and Naboo's capital was saved from further destruction. The Torment was no more, its final mission foiled by the united strength of the Rebel Alliance, the Naboo fighters, and the tireless heroes of Danger Squadron. Around 4 ABY, following the collapse of the Galactic Empire and the formation of the New Republic, the fledgling government began to bolster its military might. In a bold and strategic move, the New Republic captured the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer Victorum during the Battle of Yavin Prime. The Victorum, a symbol of Imperial power and oppression, was now in the hands of the very people who had once fought against it. The capture of such a vessel was a major victory, offering the New Republic a powerful asset in their efforts to establish a new order. After securing the Victorum and defending it from a retaliatory strike by Imperial forces, the New Republic transported the ship to the Nadiri dockyards. It was there that the Victorum, along with several other captured Imperial ships, was meticulously salvaged for use in the development of the Starhawk-class battleship, a new and innovative vessel designed to be the backbone of the New Republic's future fleet. The Starhawk was a massive undertaking, combining the captured Imperial technology with advanced New Republic designs. The result was a formidable warship, built to rival the once-feared Star Destroyers. The Victorum, once an instrument of Imperial terror, would now play a pivotal role in forging the Starhawk's legacy as the centerpiece of the New Republic's Navy, a symbol of hope and resistance in the aftermath of the Empire's tyranny. In 5 ABY, the remnants of the Imperial Navy found themselves locked in a final, decisive conflict against the New Republic in the Battle of Jakku. Among the forces deployed by the Empire were 3 Imperial II-class Star Destroyers, which fought valiantly but ultimately found themselves outmatched by the might of the New Republic's forces. As the battle raged, the Star Destroyers, seeing the tide turn against them, made the difficult decision to flee the battlefield. They retreated, escaping the carnage of Jakku and jumping to wild space, a region of the galaxy known for its unexplored and dangerous territories. After their hyperspace jump, the captains of the fleeing Imperial vessels were left in a state of disarray and uncertainty. Still reeling from the Empire's collapse, they sought solace and direction, hoping to find some semblance of Imperial strength. In the void of wild space, they came upon a small fleet of ships, led by the Executor-class Star Dreadnought Liberty's Misrule. The fleet, a daunting sight to any who might encounter it, was assumed by the Imperial captains to be a surviving remnant of the Imperial Navy, perhaps the last bastion of Imperial rule. In their desperation, the captains sought refuge with the Liberty's Misrule, believing it to be an Imperial stronghold, unaware that the fleet had been reformed by forces opposed to the Empire's former reign. This meeting would prove to be a critical turning point for those Imperial survivors, caught between the remnants of a fallen empire and the uncertain future of the galaxy. However, to the shock and disbelief of the Imperial captains, the fleet they had mistakenly allied with was not an Imperial remnant at all. It was, in fact, under the command of Eleodia Maracavania, a ruthless pirate leader from the sovereign latitudes of Maracavania, a notorious faction operating in wild space. Maracavania, ever the shrewd strategist, quickly deduced that the 3 Imperial II-class Star Destroyers had come from the recently concluded Battle of Jakku, and that their fleeing fleet was likely desperate and vulnerable. Without hesitation, Maracavania issued the order for the immediate destruction of the Imperial vessels. This decision came as a complete surprise to Karklin Ryun, a crew member aboard the Liberty's Misrule, who had not anticipated such a drastic course of action. As Ryun and others aboard the pirate flagship processed the sudden turn of events, Maracavania took the opportunity to elaborate on her reasoning to the crew. She explained that by destroying the fleeing Star Destroyers, they could garner favor with the New Republic, which would appreciate the cleanup of Imperial remnants following the brutal battle at Jakku. In Maracavania's mind, this would not only solidify her faction's standing, but also grant them the legitimacy they desperately needed in the eyes of the New Republic, who would likely view the eradication of Imperial remnants as a necessary act of restoration and justice. As the decision was made, the entire pirate fleet, including the mighty Liberty's Misrule, turned its firepower on the 3 Imperial Star Destroyers. Maracavania was confident in the outcome. She believed the Star Destroyer stood no chance against the overwhelming might of her forces. As blaster fire and turbo laser blasts rained down on the Imperial vessels, the fate of the fleeing Star Destroyers seemed all but sealed. The final chapter for these remnants of the Empire was about to be written, not by the hands of the New Republic, but by the pirates who sought to turn the tide of their own fate. Despite the emergence of more advanced starship designs in the wake of the Galactic Empire's fall, the Imperial II-class Star Destroyer remained a staple of the galaxy's military forces for many years, continuing to serve well beyond its original intended lifespan. The Imperial II-class proved to be a reliable and formidable vessel, its versatility allowing it to adapt to the changing landscape of galactic warfare. During the Yuuzhan Vong War, a brutal conflict that began in 25 ABY, these warships were still actively used, playing crucial roles in both offensive and defensive capacities. As the New Republic faced the unprecedented threat posed by the Yuuzhan Vong, the Imperial Lahu-class Star Destroyers were called into service once again. Their sheer firepower and durability made them valuable assets in the ongoing struggle, and they participated in critical missions aimed at defending the galaxy from the alien invaders. Their presence on the battlefield helped to bolster the ranks of the New Republic and its allies, offering a measure of continuity amidst the chaos of the war. However, the use of the Imperial II-class was not confined to military operations alone. Over time, these warships also found their place in more unconventional roles, often being repurposed for non-combat operations. Some of the Imperial Star Destroyers were used in policing or security roles, patrolling borders or safeguarding vital installations. Their imposing presence also made them useful for asserting dominance or maintaining order in the post-Empire galaxy, where both remnants of Imperial power and emerging factions vied for control. The longevity of the Imperial II class Star Destroyer was a testament to the durability and effectiveness of the design, ensuring that these ships would remain a force to be reckoned with for decades after their first deployment. Despite newer, more advanced warships entering service, the Imperial II class still carried the weight of the Empire's legacy, and its presence in the galaxy continued to evoke both fear and respect. During the events of the Second Galactic Civil War, the Imperial II class Star Destroyer continued to play a key role in galactic military operations, even as new factions and forces emerged from the ashes of the old Empire. One notable instance of the class's enduring relevance came when Jacen Solo, a central figure in the war, commanded a heavily upgraded and modified Imperial II class Star Destroyer known as the Anakin Solo. This ship was in the service of the Galactic Alliance Guard, the elite military force tasked with protecting the Galactic Alliance and maintaining order in a galaxy torn by civil conflict. The Anakin Solo, while originally an Imperial II class vessel, was extensively refitted and improved with modern technology and systems, making it a formidable force despite its origins. Under Jacen Solo's command, the Anakin Solo became a symbol of both the continued power of the Imperial Star Destroyer class and the shifting allegiances within the galaxy. The ship's advanced modifications allowed it to hold its own against more contemporary warships, and its commanding presence on the battlefield proved invaluable to the Galactic Alliance Guard. The continued use of the Imperial II class Star Destroyer in such a prominent role during the Second Galactic Civil War demonstrated the enduring legacy of the class. Even as the galaxy moved forward, the warships of the Empire's past still had much to offer, whether through direct military engagement or through repurposing and modernization. Jacen Solo's command of the Anakin Solo highlighted the complex relationship between the old and new, as both factions of the Galactic Alliance and Imperial remnants sought to carve out their place in a galaxy that was once again at war. When the Imperial remnant finally entered the Second Galactic Civil War, the Imperial II class Star Destroyers once again proved their enduring value. Despite the passage of time and the availability of more advanced starship designs, the Imperial II class remained a core component of the Remnant's fleet, demonstrating its prolonged service and continued relevance to the legacy of the Galactic Empire. The Imperial fleet, though smaller than its predecessor, still wielded significant power, with several Imperial II class Star Destroyers at its core. These vessels were a testament to the durability of the Empire's old warships, capable of holding their ground against modern opponents. However, despite the impressive fleet at his disposal, Supreme Commander Gilad Pellaeon, a respected leader of the Imperial Remnant, chose to prioritize newer designs over the classic Imperial II class. In a move that symbolized the shifting dynamics of Imperial military leadership, Pellaeon selected the Bloodfin, a newly constructed Turbulent-class Star Destroyer, as the flagship of the Imperial Remnant's forces. The Bloodfin represented the future of the Imperial fleet, with its more advanced technology and cutting-edge design, a sign of the Empire's attempt to adapt to the changing tide of galactic warfare. Despite the move towards modernization, the Imperial II class Star Destroyers still served a critical role in the Imperial Remnant's fleet operations. Their firepower, durability, and versatility made them an invaluable asset in battles, even if they were overshadowed by newer vessels like the Bloodfin. The Imperial II class had become a symbol of the Empire's enduring legacy, a reminder of the military might that had once dominated the galaxy. Even as the Remnant looked toward the future with ships like the Turbulent class, the Imperial II class Star Destroyer continued to serve as the backbone of their naval forces, carrying forward the Empire's indomitable spirit.